Disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Do not attempt this at home. Vitiated how to will not be responsible because you decided to be a cheap ass and not hire a professional.
On with the show.
Well, I know I clown on here a lot, different stupid ass things, and act stupid and do all kinds of other stupid shit. But this is going to be kind of a serious video, somewhat. It's going to be how to raise a child, life skills. Y'all's generation, y'all meaning most of you people that watch my channel, are more worried about what gender their child should be or what gender the parents want their child to be, rather than preparing them for life skills that they're really going to need. I'll give you a unique example. I know someone, he is 22. Yeah, 22, 23. His dad just died. He has no fucking clue of how to do a bank, to do his bank account, how to adjust or pay attention to how to do his finances. He has no clue of money management whatsoever. He's just been spending money because he's been living with his dad, and his dad's been paying the rent, and he just pays the other little piddly little shit. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but now all of a sudden he's got to pay everything. And he don't know how to do it. Well, he was coddled most of his life, or all of his life. He's been coddled. And he was part of that fucking generation, the participation trophy generation. He's well educated. He just not educated about life. His mom's a drunk. And if you had a parent like that, then you know how that is. And his dad was okay. I mean, his dad's a good person, took care of him. Just didn't give him life skills. Didn't instill the life skills. Just let him do whatever he wanted. So now he doesn't know how to do anything but spend money and blow money. So that's why this video is about life skills. And a lot of people don't know shit about me. I'll give you a little bit about me. I've been hustling money since probably before most of you were ever born. 40 years I've been hustling money. And I've been doing it since I was a little kid. Before I was living with the person that was supposed to take care of me, and I learned a lot of bad habits about stealing and breaking into shit because she was a drug head and a fucking thief and all kinds of other shit. She did some fucked up shit, and I learned bad habits. But when I got to a certain age to where I figured out that I can make money instead of steal the shit, I started making the money. And I hustled all kind of shit. I would go to grocery stores. Back then, you can't do that shit now. There was a particular store, it was called IGA. They had it set up to where the people could not take the grocery carts out into the parking lot. You couldn't. It was just made that way. This was fucking 30-something, 40 years ago. So they couldn't take them out there. So what I would do is, a little kid, I would hang out outside. And when I'd see people trying to load groceries in their cart, or in their trunks, I'd help them. Did I make money? Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. But when I did, it was $1, sometimes it was $5, sometimes it was 50 cents. But back then, hell, 50 cents was like fucking $3 now. So that was great. And I would do it because the people inside IGA, the workers, would not come out and help people. But they see me doing it, they'd run my ass off. But the people inside there wouldn't come out and help them, but they get mad when I do it. So I did that for a while. And then somehow or another, I ended up with a fucking, a push mower. I don't know how the fuck I ended up with a push mower, but I got a push mower, got a gas can, and then I started cutting grass. I did that for a while. And then I'd find other things to do. Hell, down the street from where I lived, they were remodeling an apartment. I learned how to do mud at 9 years old. I was 8 years old when I welded up a whole fucking probably 30 busted pipes. They were copper pipes, all different sizes, from 1/4 inch up to 1 inch. Because where we lived, the landlord weighed 450 pounds. He couldn't climb a 12-foot ladder to get up there to weld them himself. And the 2 workers he had for him were drunks. So I had to go down in this basement and do it. So he let me do it in his office first to teach me how to do it. So I did 20 pipes there, and I soldered the 50 or so down underneath in the basement, and everything worked. So that was another job, little thing that I got showed how to do, made a little bit of money. Then I became 11, and I left there, and I moved in with my dad. And when I moved in with my dad, he really couldn't afford me. So I had to help my way. I had to earn my keep, which I was okay with that because I had food, and the other place I didn't have food or clothing. And here I have a place to stay and food and what have you, so I was cool with it. There wasn't no abuse or nothing, so no big deal. So for that whole time period up until I left, I would help my dad with whatever needed to be helped. It didn't matter what it was. I mean, I've done some crazy shit. I've helped him bust a boiler. If anybody knows what a boiler is, we busted one up and moved it out. I would go with him on different jobs, and I learned different things. I learned how to plant trees. I learned how to plant bushes the proper way. Cut grass a certain way. Everybody says it's easy, but there are certain ways to do things. And I learned all these skills from my dad. And the funny thing is, motherfucker couldn't read a goddamn newspaper. He could he could sign his name. That's it. That was a whole nother story because he's been working since he was 11. He literally, because of whatever went on, he had a job at 11 years old, an actual paying job, and he'd been working since he was 11. That's why he couldn't read. And I did a lot of other shit. I mean, I'd go and work and did fucking auto mechanics one summer. I did word processing another summer. Then another summer I was working in a school stripping floors. And then for a couple years I was doing auto body and auto mechanics. When I was 16, it was 16 till I was 18. I was doing auto body and auto mechanics. And then I started doing fucking fast food and a lot of other shit. So, I mean, I've always been able to hustle for money. But that also, because the other person didn't teach me a lot of things, I got lucky because the schools I was in, you guys don't get taught this shit now. The one junior high I went to, we got taught shop class. How to use grinders, saws, drills, different things like that. We had home economics where it taught you how to sew, taught you how to cook, taught you how to clean your house properly and do different other things. Then I had another junior high school I went to. They had a program that got you in a bank account. I had a bank account when I was 14 years old. Yeah, 14 years old. It was OWE. It was a work program. They call it OWE. And this was when I lived in the inner city. And what they would do is they had these people come from these different banks and help you set up an account that was in your name for you. And then this particular teacher or class or whatever would teach you how to do your checking account, how to balance your checkbook, how to balance your finances, how to pay your bills, and all the different skills you needed for that. So I got lucky with that. You guys don't have that in school anymore. And the two kids I raised, from the time they were 5 and 7, I made sure they were working of some kind. They were doing chores. They were always constantly learning shit, always. Even when they got punished, they were learning. They got punished for something. Instead of me busting their ass all the time, depending on what they did for the ass busting or what, if they didn't, if it wasn't too bad to get a whooping, I'd make them write a page out of the fucking dictionary. And now both of them are fucking well educated. At fucking 13 years old, my stepdaughter could spell oxymoron and never seen it a day in her life. All I had to do was say it one fucking time, and she spelled that motherfucker. And that was another thing I would do with them. It would be $20 words. If I could come up with a word and they could spell it, they got $20. Another way, everything that I ever did for them encouraged learning. She knew more about different things than most people did. Hell, when she was 16 years old, she was a shift manager of a Marcos. When she was 17, she was a store manager. She couldn't be officially a store manager because she wasn't 18 yet, but she was getting paid and working as a store manager at 17. She did that all up until she was 22, 23, 21, my bad. And then she started working for a hospital and then went from there. Now she's doing really good. My stepson has his own business because of all the things that I've taught him and the things he learns. He can wire up a fucking house. At 12 years old, he was working with me, and he fucking wired up a bunch of lights and everything that came on the first time. And all I did was explain it to him. Hell, most electricians I knew couldn't fucking do that. And they've been a fucking electrician for 10 years. They always had one of them that was fucked up or something that was fucked up. And he did it the first time, and I taught him about plumbing so he can plumb his own house. He can wire his own house if he wanted to. He can do all that shit. But it's been instilled on them about different things since they were 5 and 7. So that way they had skills. This young man didn't have shit except going to school. And yeah, I know going to school is this or that, but you got to have some kind of life skills. You can't just expect everybody else to do shit for you. And you pay because you can't trust people. You can't trust them to do much of anything. So that's why the life skills are so fucking important. And I can't say it enough. Even if it's just the little things. Because one day they're going to want to own their own home. And rather than pay somebody, they can fix their own shit unless they don't want to. Work on their own cars or whatever. Unless they don't want to. Unless they're making 6 figures, then they don't need to. But if you're just coming out and just becoming an adult and you're in your 20s, shit. Hell, when I was fucking 21, 22, I didn't fucking... 23 I did. But 21, 22, I owned my own car. I paid cash for it. I think the first one was like $500. The second one was like $1,500, something like that. But it was from the money I saved up. I wasn't trying to buy no fucking brand new goddamn car or 3-year-old car. Fuck that shit, man. I didn't want no goddamn car payment. And that's the problem with you guys teaching your kids. Because they see you trying to keep up with the Joneses and the Kardashians. So as you raise them, that's what you teach them instead of teaching them, hey, you go do this, you go do this, you go do that. And I know it's because how you're taught is how you teach them. But sometimes you got to step outside that. Because obviously it's not working. Because we got inflation that's insane. And y'all's generation are bitching and pissing and moaning about, oh, you can't afford this shit. But you got a car payment. You steadily fucking doing Uber Eats and fucking DoorDash and shit like that. Instead of cooking your own shit. I mean, hell, you got across the internet now. Fucking hoes saying, oh, I want a man that makes 6 figures. And the bitches can't even fucking cook or clean. They don't even know how to make a goddamn fucking thing of macaroni and cheese right. How the fuck you fuck up macaroni and cheese? Bitches don't know how to do that. They're too good for that. They'd rather go DoorDash or rather go out and spend $60. Motherfucker, fuck you. I'll go buy me a goddamn box of macaroni and fucking cheese and fuck you and your $50. I mean, that's just how it is. I wasn't that way back then. Fuck that. I ate good back then and I did all right. But I did it within my means. I always knew. Hell, I could do my bank account, my checkbook in my fucking head. And I always kept track of shit. I didn't have to write none of that shit in my bank book. I always knew what I spent and how much I had left. Always. And I could tell you the last 15 transactions I did. That's just how well I kept up with everything. And that's what you got to teach your kids. That is more important than any fucking thing else that you can remotely come up with your fantasy and your mental illness bullshit. That's just the fact of life.